Hey everyone, in this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how I made this dress for Amigurumi dolls. You can use this tutorial to make this dress, or you could use it to make a skirt too, which I did for this doll that I made. And I've also used this same tutorial to make this robe for my Dumbledore doll. So this is a really versatile tutorial, and as you can see, you can use any color that you want. I've used black for the skirt and this charcoal gray for the dress that I'll be showing you today. And I used this light blue for the one that I made for Dumbledore. Some other things that you're going to need for this tutorial are a crochet hook. I'm using a size E, a yarn needle to sew in your ends, and a pair of scissors to cut off your yarn. So let's get started with this tutorial. So I'm going to start with a slip knot. And then I'm going to insert my hook. And I'm going to chain 29 so I can have a total of 30 chains on my hook. So I finished with my chain of 30, and now I'm just going to insert my hook into the first chain of my foundation chain. And then I'm going to slip stitch so that I can start to work in a round. Okay, and I'm going to be working single crochets, so now I'm just going to chain up, and that will be my first stitch. And now I'm going to single crochet in every chain all the way around. So I've gotten back to the beginning of the row. And in this row I'm going to decrease twice, just so that the shape of the skirt will start to, or the bottom of the piece will start to narrow a little bit as it goes up. So I'm going to continue to my next row, and I'm just going to leave the tail here at the end of the row just so that I can have my place marked. And I'm going to decrease this next stitch. So I'm going to pull up a loop, and then into the next stitch pull up another, and then I'm going to crochet together. Okay. And now I'm going to continue. Okay, and now I'm going to decrease one more time. So I'm going to pull up a loop and pull up another. As you can see, I've almost gotten to, I'm about halfway through the row. So I'm going to decrease one more time. So I've pulled up a loop in both, and now I'm going to crochet again, together just like I did for my last decrease. And now I'm going to finish the row with single crochet. So I've gotten to the end of the row again, and this next row I'm just going to do a row of single crochets without decreasing. So I've gotten back to the beginning of the row, and in this row I'm going to decrease 2 times again. And if you just want to have more of a flat shape to your to the skirt of your piece, then it would be better to just not do the decreases and start your work at 28 or 26 chains instead of 30. So I'm going to do my first decrease. I'm going to pull up a loop and pull up a loop in the next, and then I'm going to crochet together. And now I'm going to wait until I get nearer to the end of the row around this area to do my next decrease. So I'm just going to single crochet for a while until I get to almost the end of the row. Okay, so now I've gotten to almost the end of the row, so I'm just going to decrease the next stitch, pull up a loop in both stitches and crochet them together, and then I'm going to finish the row with single crochets. And for this next, for the rest of the row, I'm just going to not decrease anymore, because I want the rest of it to be more straight up. If you wanted to continue to decrease or make more of a freely shaped skirt, then it would be good to give yourself a bigger bottom so that it has more of a ruffly look. So you could try chaining 36 or 38 or something like that at the beginning, and then just decrease every other row by 2. But I'm going to stop decreasing now, and I'm going to go on for a few more rows until the bottom of the piece is about the length of a skirt. So I've finished 3 more rows of this skirt, and I'm going to leave it at this length, or the skirt part I'm going to leave at this length. If you wanted to have a longer skirt, like I have on this doll, as you can see, the skirt is tucked underneath her sweater, so it's about this long. I can't pull it out because it's sewn down, but it's about this long. So if you wanted to do a skirt like that, then you could go on for another 3 rows, and you could do that. But if you were going to do this skirt like this, then you could just slip stitch down right here and cut off your yarn. But I'm going to carry it on and make it into a full-sized dress. So the next thing that I'm going to do is, and you don't have to do this because of, I'm just doing it because I want to put a ribbon on the outside of the dress right here. So if you wanted to do that, as you can see, there are 2 loops here. I'm going to crochet only in the back loop, which is this loop here. So I'm going to leave this loop out opened up to the outside of the work so that I can come back and work on top of these loops later and add a ribbon. So I'm going to take that back loop, and then I'm just going to single crochet into the back loop only. And as you can see, there's going to be this row of loops left outside of the work so that I can come back and work on top of these loops afterward. But again, if you don't want to do the ribbon, then you can just put your hook in both loops and not worry about having to crochet just in the back loops. But I'm going to continue going in the back loops. So I've gotten to the end of that row, and as you can see, I have all of my front loops open so that I can work my ribbon later. And now I'm going to just continue to single crochet until the top part of the dress is about level with where the arms of the doll are going to come out. So I'm just going to single crochet for a few more rows. So I've finished 6 more rows, and now I'm going to put on some straps. And if you don't want to have straps on yours, you could just end it right here by just slip stitching into the next stitch, and then you could just cut off your yarn and sew off your ends. But I'm going to add straps, So I'm going to continue until I get to around the side of the dress. So about here. And now I'm going to want to add a chain so that I can have a strap go over the arms to make an armhole. So I'm going to chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And that looks like it's about large enough for an armhole. So now I'm going to skip 2 stitches and insert my hook into the 3rd stitch and pull up a loop and continue to single crochet. And now I'm going to continue until I get to the other side on the opposite end of the dress, and I'm going to do the same thing and add 6 chains, then skip 2 and continue single crocheting, and that is going to create these 2 shoulder straps. Now I've gotten to the place where I want to put my other strap. I have put about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 stitches of single crochet between the 2. And where you put your second strap is going to depend on where your doll's arms are situated, so you should really check with your doll just to make sure that you're putting them in the right place. So I'm going to go ahead and chain 6. Then I'm going to skip 2 stitches, and into the 3rd stitch I'm going to pull up a loop and single crochet. And now I have 2 shoulder straps, as you can see. So now I'm going to finish the row with single crochets. And if you want to end the work here, then you can do that by slip stitching and cutting off your yarn. But I'm going to keep going so that I can pull the neckline up to closer to the neck of the doll. Now for this next part, I've put the doll inside of its dress because it's going to be hard to get this big head through the neck hole once I start to decrease. But once again, you can just stop here if you just want it to have these little straps, but I'm going to continue and decrease at the neckline. So I'm going to decrease every time that I get to a corner of one of these straps. And I'm going to go ahead and single crochet until I get to one of those corners. And it might be a little bit tougher to crochet around the doll, but it's a lot easier in the long run, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And now I'm going to decrease, so I'm going to insert my hook into that stitch and pull up a loop. Then I'm going to insert my hook into one of these chains and pull up a loop. And then I'm going to decrease. Okay, so now I have my first decrease done. And now I'm just going to continue to crochet along those chains. And then once I get to the other side, I'm going to go ahead and do another decrease. So I'm going to insert my hook into that, the end of that strap, and then insert it into this corner of the front, and I'm going to decrease. Okay. And now I'm going to continue to single crochet until I get to this other corner, and I'm going to decrease there as well. So So now I'm at the end of this side part, so I'm going to go ahead and decrease again. Okay. And now I'm going to single crochet a couple more times into those chains on the side, just like I did on the opposite side. And then I'm just going to do my last decrease of the row right here. Okay. So now I have decreased 4 times, so I'm going to finish the row up. And if you wanted the neckline to be even higher up, you could do one more row and decrease one more time at each corner of the arms. But I'm just going to end this here. So I'm going to do one more single crochet, and then I'm going to chain slip stitch to the next stitch, cut off my yarn, and now the dress is pretty much done. And now I'm going to add a couple of rows of sleeves, and you don't have to do this again if you want to, but if you want, you can add a full sleeve or a small sleeve, or you can just leave it like this. As you can see, I've done one sleeve on this side. I've made a short sleeve that's only about 3 rows long, but if you wanted to, you could do a full sleeve that would be probably around 9 rows long. So I'm going to show you how to do that on the other side. I'm just going to insert my hook into the back near the bottom of the arm. And I'm going to pull up a loop and chain 1. And now this row of stitches on this side was about 10 or 11 stitches long. I think it was actually 10. So I'm going to just try to keep it to the same number of stitches on this side. It doesn't have to be perfect, but if it's the same number of stitches, it will fit a lot better. So I'm just going to single crochet all the way around, and hopefully I'll end up with 10 stitches. So I've made it all the way around with my 10 stitches of single crochet. So now I'm just going to continue to single crochet along those stitches that I just made. And I'm going to keep going until the sleeve is the same length as the one on the other side, which should be for another one more row after this one. So now I've gotten the sleeve to about the same length as it is on the other side. So I'm just going to slip stitch and cut off my yarn. Now I just need to sew in my ends and the dress is pretty much done. So now I'm going to show you how to put a ribbon around the loops that I left open in that in the past row. So I'm going to go to the back of the work and find one of those loops, which is right here, and I'm not sure if you can quite see, but there's a little row of loops all the way around here. I'm going to insert my hook into all of these loops, and then I'm just going to pull up a loop, and then I'm going to chain 2. And now I'm going to double crochet once in every loop. So I'm going to pull up the next one. Okay, there it is. I'm going to yarn over first, and then I'm going to insert my hook into that next loop. There it is. And now I'm going to pull up a loop and double crochet. And I'm going to do that in every one of these loops all the way around. Pull up the next one. And I'm going to keep on doing that until I get all the way around. You could do this part before the doll is wearing the dress. That might make it a little bit easier, but I didn't do that, so I'm just going to do it while the doll is wearing the dress. So I'm going to carry on putting a double crochet in all of these loops until I get back to the back of the dress. Okay, that's the last stitch of the row, so now I'm just going to slip stitch to the top of the first stitch, cut off my yarn, and I'm going to cut off a long tail. And I'm going to use this tail to sew the tops of the ribbon to the top of the dress along here. So I'm just going to sew this ribbon on all the way around. So I've sewn the ribbon on all the way around, and now I just need to sew in my tail. So as you can see, the dress is pretty much done with this doll. I'm going to put on a robe onto her next, and then she'll be completely done. You can also use this tutorial for a bunch of other types of dolls, like these two here. So if you like this tutorial, then please hit the like button, and if you would like to see more in the future, then please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!